So today's Friday, November 12th, and we're coming into the close of US and the close of the FX market. So pretty much it's been an interesting week. A lot of selling pressure this week, a lot more than I initially expected, as you can see coming through here. Um, just really big, large volume candles. Um, and some of these had little or no wick on the top side. Here you can see a wick, but and here again we have a nice hammer candle, but there's no follow through on that, and essentially just more selling. So we put it up to a weekly chart. To try and get an idea of what we had coming into this week. Previously we talked about long wicks on the bottom side and then a nice push up. But as you can see, that candle sort of put in a long wick on the top side, and as a result, we had quite a bit of selling come in this week. Pretty much looks like right from the open of the week, sellers really didn't give it too much leeway to the upside. They just kind of pushed straight down. And again, here we did manage to take out the lows of these long wicks. So where there were buyers before, quite a bit of buying interest. This time the buyers sort of stepped aside. And on the daily, we can kind of go through and take a very broad view of what we're looking at in this market. And so this is quite a significant swing point in this massive run up. And again, we can mark off a few more points, and one of them being this swing point right here. And as you can see, there was some news back here. This is when China said something, and price really managed to take off. But again, technically there is support there, so there's a couple of things lining up. And if we go further back on the chart, there was some resistance in this area, and as you can see, there was a significant sell-off from that level. So in terms of trend lines, we can drop in a couple. There was one here that I had, that I was watching, and then the other one we can draw from back here to this point right here. And so I guess I haven't really been too active on the blog, unfortunately. Sorry about that. I've been pretty busy, but I was able to put on a few trades this week. For me, this wasn't a very good week. I hit my risk limit, and so I was out. But we can kind of walk through that, get to the moment, and see which trades I ended up taking. But I think understanding the analysis of the market is more important, at this point. So pretty much we were in this range for quite a bit of time, a few weeks. And one thing I want to point out, if we go back to like a weekly chart, you can kind of begin to see that when these significant tops do take place, it's generally not just a quick spike. And here this is I guess an example of a quick spike, but in general, this one up here, considering each bar is a week, this is many months. This is about a month of consolidation, and again, here we have about a month of consolidation. So, am I saying that this is going to be a reversal? No, but that is something to keep in mind. Like here, for example, we had quite a bit of consolidation, and only, in the end, to have a resumption of the previous uptrend. So. But I guess the important message to take away from that is that when these tops do take place, there is time to get in, and we have to watch price actions very closely, kind of determine what what's going to happen. I like to relate it to like a freight train. When the train's going, there's no chance that you're going to stop it on a dime. But when as it does approach the station, it slows down, reduces speed, and then finally it can turn around and go the other way. But by no means is that something that happens in a split second. So now that we have a broad view of what's going on the euro here, we can kind of see that we were in this range for quite a bit of time. We broke to the top side, and then we had quite a bit of selling pressure that came through. And now, as you can see, we are below this significant support level in the daily. So looking at the daily chart, I would assume that the next stop is either going to be this support level or this trend line, whichever one comes first. And then again, we have that weekly chart to support that claim, because we do have a significant bear candle, which wiped out the lows of these hammer candles right here. So we take it down to a 4-hour chart. You can kind of see we had a nice reversal bar set up here at resistance, and then a nice steady follow through. For me personally, I was looking for some buying pressure to come in off this trend line right here, and I can readjust this. But as you can see, instead what we saw was sellers kind of really just pushed through, retested it, and then continue to push on down all the way into this daily support level, and actually, we actually managed to push right through it. Looking at price now, I have to take on a little bit of different approach since we are below those daily support levels. So at this point, I'm looking to take bearish trades, and this is one that I just took right at the end of the week, and I'm going to be holding this over the weekend. As the market is coming into a close. But the idea being here that we had a nice push down. Again, this is a 4-hour chart, so you can see we had quite a few sessions of closes below, and then a nice push up back into what was support, which will now be resistance. And from there you can see we had a nice long wick pattern here, nice reversal bar. So potentially we could see some follow through. And if it's at all possible, I'd like to hold this for a little bit of a longer term. Since we are in line with that more general view now, right, of price coming all the way down to one of these support levels. But again, if I'm wrong, I will gladly take my stop and get stopped out and sit aside because there's no reason why this market cannot continue up and push back into these highs. So definitely do not want to be caught in that. But anyways, the entry was simply just a 4-hour reversal, and then off the 5-minute just took a nice entry there. And as you can see, my stop is past break even. And again, this market might gap, but coming into next week. But as you can see, the higher time frames do support my analysis. So I'm not too concerned about that. But again, here in the near term, essentially what I was doing was my stop was up here above the high after we did push down through this support level. And as price came up, I moved to break even. And as you can see, we had resistance, and then we popped through on the top side. And, I was willing to give it one more shot to see if buyers could hold this level. And if not, then I would stick in it. And, if they did manage to hold and break this high, then I would be out. But as you can see, so far they weren't able to hold it, and we're trading back below that level. Also we have the 137 whole number here, so that kind of added to the bearish case. So that's pretty much the trade. We can briefly go into the trade that took this week, and this being one of them. Essentially what I'm going to do is, since I hit my risk limit this week, I stopped trading. But at times, this is really a great setup, and I decided to take it. And the thing is, as traders, you have to kind of define your limits and your risk. If you really let that go, then that can turn into a margin call really quick. I can relate it to going to the casino. You give yourself an allowance, and once you burn out, and that's it for the week or day or however often you go. But if you can start to build some momentum, then you can let that run, and try and build off of that. But on the same token, there's no reason you can't ask your buddy for a little bit extra cash. But you have to realize that at some point, you owe somebody that. So the way I'm assessing this is that I'm over my risk limit for this week. I took one last trade because I really love the setup. I thought I had a good probability here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll that risk onto next week. So next week I will reduce my risk exposure. But anyways, real quick, so this is one trade right here that we just talked about, and then as you can see, if we push it back to a daily, the other place I want to take a shot at was that hammer candle that formed, and you can see it right here, on this bar. Price came into previous support, and we had a very nice reversal pattern. And so what I did was, because it was on a lower time frame, I was willing to, essentially take on a little bit more aggressive entry, and that entry was off this level, or rather off this low right here. So either I was waiting for a break of this high or a break of this low, or rather a tag of this low. So I took an entry off here. We had a very small push up, but as you can see, sellers really managed to push price down, and that was a larger stop because it was a daily trade. So that and there was one more earlier in the week where we came into some support here. I think it was this area somewhere right here, and we did have, as you can see, some bounces back, but again the market did push through to the downside. So I kind of got caught trying to guess which way the market was going to go, and that didn't work out too well. And in the end of the week, a couple good trades, and let's see, hopefully I can turn it around next week. But thanks for watching. Hope you have a good weekend, and you're watching MugTrading.tk.